Today we are going to talk about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integer models. So first I'm going to start off with the rules of integers. And first I'm just going to do addition. So we know when we add two positive integers, 4 plus 8, our answer is going to be a positive 12. Okay. We have two numbers right here that have the same positive signs, positive 4 and positive 8. And that's why we can add. Okay, but what if we throw in a negative number? So if I have 4 plus a negative 8, there's a couple ways we can solve this problem. First, we can do counting chips. I'm going to use green for positive, and I'm going to use red for negative. So if I have 4 positive chips, and I have 8 negative chips, what I can do is I can cross off each positive chip with a negative chip. So if I cross off a negative and a positive, 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 I'm left with these 4 negative. So my answer is negative 4. So here, if you pay attention, you can see that even though you are adding 4 plus a negative 8, you're actually subtracting. So I'm going to take this 4 plus negative 8 and go to the next page and kind of elaborate on what we did. So we had 4 plus a negative 8. So what we actually did here was, like I said, we subtracted, right? Because we didn't add 4 plus negative 8, we took our 8, subtracted 4, and we got 4. So 4 was in our answer. Then we just look at our positive 4 and our negative 8, and we say to ourselves, which number is bigger? Well, our 8 is bigger here, right? So we know that negative sign is going to follow through to our answer, and our answer is going to be a negative 4. I will show you another problem just like that. So if we have, let's say, a negative 12 plus 4, okay? Once again, we can do this with chips. This one might take a little bit longer. 1, 2, and then a positive 4 in green. And then we can cross off positive and negative. So, for every negative and every positive. And our answer here, if you count them all up, so if we go over here and count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our answer should be negative 8. And so if we do that the same way we did that the last time, and take our 12, subtract 4, 12 minus 4 is 8, and now we're just going to look at our two numbers here, okay? Which number is larger? The 12. What is with the 12? A negative sign. So it's going to be a negative 8. Okay, so that's adding integers. Now, if we are going to subtract integers, there's something very important that I always tell you guys, and that is to add the opposite. Okay, so if I have a 4 minus 5, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the opposite. So when I add, I change it to addition, I ask myself, is that what's the opposite of positive 5? And you should tell me negative 5. So then if we take 5 minus 4, we get 1. Which number is bigger, the 5 or the 4? Okay, the 5, so it's going to be a negative 1. You do the same thing when you subtract, let's just say 8 minus 3. Okay, you do the same exact thing of adding the opposite, you just don't realize it. Because what's 8 minus 3? 5, right? So if you add the opposite, okay, it's the same thing. We have 8, we subtract 3, we get 5, and then we ask what's bigger, the 8 or the 3. You say the 8, so it's going to stay a positive 5. Okay, let's do another one. So if I have negative 12 minus a negative 4, okay, we are going to add, what is the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. So we take that negative 12, we take that 12 and we subtract 4, which gives us 8. And then we ask ourselves, what's bigger, the 12 or the 4? You say the 12, so we get a negative 8 there. Alright? So that's it for adding and subtracting. Now, when it comes to multiplication and division, you're going to do the same thing. And some people like to use this tic-tac-toe board to remember the rules. But when you have a negative and a negative, so if I have negative 4 times negative 6, okay? First of all you're going to do is 4 times 6, which is 24. The question now is it negative or is it positive? So then you go and look at your tic-tac-toe board, and you say my first number was a negative 4, my second number was a negative 6, so my answer should be positive. So it should be positive 24. Okay? Oops. Alright, so if we have a positive 6 times a negative 5, we'll say, okay, our tic-tac-toe board, we have positives this way, negative, 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 negative. Okay, so we have a positive and a negative. So once again, you would see I have a positive, I have a negative, my answer is going to be negative. So 6 times 5 is 30, whoops, 30, and it should be a negative 30. Okay. So that's pretty much adding and subtracting integers, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers, excuse me. But there are models that need to be used, so I'm going to show you some examples of models. So here it says, Janika had the following moves on her first 4 turns in a board game. So when it says moving 3 spaces forward, okay, here in turn 1, you need to think positive 3. Okay, so if I look, I see all my answers but C say positive 3, so I know I can mark that off. It says move 1 space back. Okay, so if I'm moving back, that means I'm going to the left, I'm going to subtract. So now I'm down to B and D, and I can cross A off. It says move 18 spaces forward. My remaining answers both have positive 18, and then it says move 3 spaces back. Do both of these answers have negative 3? No. D would be my answer. Okay, now these brackets down here, guys, this means it's kind of like parentheses. It's just like a second parenthesis. And remember, when we're dealing with average, we want everything in here first to be added and then divided by 4, and that's why that's the correct answer. Okay, so here's another example that they might give you when it comes to models, multiplication, or this is subtraction. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead at the top and write in, so I'm going to go ahead here at the top and write in the problem. So in yellow so you guys can see it. Or we'll do teal. Okay, so we have 4 minus a negative 2, okay? Even without looking at the models, okay? Because all it's saying is which of the following models represent this. So 4 should be positive. If your open circle is positive, which one has 4? Okay, your F and your H, excuse me. So we know J and G is out. And then it says minus 2, okay? So are we going to plus a negative 2? Well, you have to remember your rule, right? So here it says we're going to minus a negative 2. So F is going to be correct. And then if you realize if we add the opposite, we get 4 plus 2, which is 6. So it's going to be a positive 6. But if you kept H for some reason, because you added the opposite before you picked an answer, if you kept H, you would end up with positive 2, which isn't what we wanted. Okay. And let's do one more. Sorry, let's clear these. Okay, so let's do this one right here. Number line, okay? Now, here's a number line, okay? So we're paying attention to the number line and what it says. Now, look at the number line very closely. What do you see? Okay, this isn't a normal number line. It doesn't go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It goes by twos. So you have to pay attention to it. So here we go down 6. So we go left to the left 6. So we know J is going to be out of the question because we don't go down 8. So now we have to remember that there are spaces, and I'm going to try to draw very carefully, in between there that are standing for our ones. So when you count upwards to your positive 2, you have to remember you start here, right? And you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, because that 8 takes you to that 2. So F is out of the question because we didn't add 2. We had to add 8 to get to 2. So now we're here, and we need to go back down. We know we're going to go negative. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We should be down 4 negative. Okay? So out of G and out of H, which one gives you 4? Negative 4. H. Okay, those are, just some type of problems that you might see on the test that they will give you when it comes to adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing models. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, make sure that you ask me in class. Thanks so much.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.